Race 1 TCR UK here at Croft was spectacular. Now it's time to look ahead to race number 2. Behind us, the 3 most important steps in any race, the 3 steps on the podium. Who is going to find themselves in that position at the end of the last race of the day, round 4 of the championship? Alex Goldschmidt and, of course, the man behind TCR UK, Stuart Lyne. Stuart, firstly, congratulations on what has been a very successful weekend. Lots of crowd here at Croft. The grandstands have been absolutely packed. Loads of people on the grid, everyone having a good time. Lots of smiles as well.
Yeah, and as you can see, I ordered the weather. Yeah, I seem to have got the weather right this year. Everywhere in the country's pouring down. Well, wherever we go, the sun's shining.
Sun shines on the righteous.
Yeah, well, I'm not religious, but it sounds like it has been, yeah.
It sounds like you put a few pounds in the meter, Stuart, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's been great. And, the first race was real good, fair racing. There was some good battles in it. As you know, we've got the reverse grid now where it's a different race altogether,
What I did notice is that the quality of competition, the gap between first and last has shrunk a lot. The drivers that have started up maybe at Snetterton were a little bit off the pace. They're a lot closer here. Okay, that's got something to do with the circuit, the tight nature of the circuit. But it shows that the smaller teams, the smaller drivers, they are upping their game to keep pace with the world-class drivers up at the front, which I think is really significant. And of course, Jack Constable, first Gen 2 Audi win, TCR UK. Having someone over from Audi Europe watching, observing, that gives the championship an extra boost as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, the guy, he's the main man from Audi. I think he actually developed the car, he goes all around the world looking at the race series. But I think the BOP, we talk about BOP, balance of performance, a lot, but it's obviously somewhere like, you looked at the qualifying and there was not even 1/10 between the top 4.
Yeah, Alex, you were saying was it 1/10 between top 4 and 5 different car varieties in the top 5?
It was 99 thousandths. It was 26 thousandths between pole positions. So you had Jack Constable, Carl Boardley, who was gunning for overall pole anyway, but he would have been the first person competing in the Goodyear Diamond Trophy to secure an overall pole position in TCR UK history. That would have been a milestone in its own right, and I know for a fact that with the amount of performance that Coupe Relais en Competition with Carl Boardley Motorsport and the guys at Heart GT who have really step that car forward in such a positive direction. I mean, the way that Carl got off the line, and I saw it from the pit lane, the way he just went high, wide and handsome around the outside of Jack Constable, going through, of all the places, Clervaux, and then you got that tight chicane. That was not easy, but Carl, with his short oval experience and his
sharp elbows,
but also he definitely had quite a big pair downstairs as well to boot, to pardon the pun. But it was just the way that he did it. They gave each other racing room and racing respect, and that, Stuart, is what TCR UK is all about. Detlev Schmidt dancing after we found out that Carl had a 5-second time penalty post-race for exceeding track limits. And the way that he can now go back to Neuburg-an-Donau, which is where Audi Sport Customer Racing is based, with a big smile on his face and say to the team, yeah, we just got a victory in the UK with Gen 2 Audi. And that, along with the global debut back at Snetterton of the FL5 Civic Type R with Chris Smiley, really just showcases how much the evolution since you took over the management at TCR UK a few years back, after 2017 when it was announced. That just shows how much this championship is growing, and people are wanting to come into something that's competitive and also a bit more cost effective than, say, top tier racing.
Yeah, it's about how you set the car up. The cars are the same. They've got the same power, and they do get penalised. No one's allowed to run away with it, but it's done in there's 1,200 cars in the world. It's done in a manner where they try and get them as close as possible. But, a lot of people will say, at the beginning of the year, because they've seen an Audi win in Europe, we've got to have an Audi. Well, tracks in the UK are different, and the Audi had a mare at Snetterton. Yes. So now it's had a decent day. Maybe they'll all want an Audi again, but, I think the Cupra, the Hyundai, they're all good cars. And, the Honda will... I think once Chris Smiley gets the, his R&D in that Honda to a certain extent, because it's the latest thing, but once they get the teething problems out of the way and it wins, I suppose a few people will want a Honda. But it's all about your personal preference. But the good thing about the cars is that they're current. You it's race on Sunday, buy on Monday. You know, that old slogan from back in the day.
That's an old NASCAR slogan. Yeah, you win on Sunday,
and
buy on
BTCC
Monday.
car slogan as well. But also the fact that we got the official debut of the Elantra N, which has effectively replaced the Veloster, which is still being run by the Kents. But to see that car go out there and do the business, despite the fact that there were problems, because I spoke with Josh Files and I said to him, what exactly was the cause of the engine failure? And one of the codon rods dropped and punched a hole in the engine block, and that's why the engine expired. But, you know, Josh had been given an incentive from Area Motorsport saying, if you win it, whatever damage happens, I'll pay for it. And that just goes to show the fact that the teams here are so family orientated, and that is the lovely feel I get here from the atmosphere in the paddock.
The Elantras are going to be back anyway. They're back in the next meeting. We've got 2 Elantras. The one lad sorting some sponsorship out, but the one that was at Snetterton, the guy that owns it, he's coming making his debut in TCR UK. So you know, there'll be a bit more different type of cars coming out. You know, so that's good.
I'm really excited about that.
And speaking of Area Motorsport, it's one of their drivers, Alex Lee, who is going to be starting this next race on pole position, the top 10 reverse grid. Alex Lee starting from pole position. Chris Smiley, the defending champion, starting right at the back. How far can he get up there? What can Jack Constable, what can Carl Bordley, what can Bradley Kent do from the 5th and 4th row of the grid? But one driver starting a little bit further up the field than that, Jensen Brickley, caught up with me yesterday, talk about his arrival into TCR UK as a family-run operation. He'll be going for his first podium, and he's starting on row number 2. Let's hear from Jensen. Arguably one of the stars of the show at the opening 2 rounds of 2023 at Snetterton, this man, Jensen Brickley. On his touring car debut, Jensen came away with 2 top 10 finishes, top 10 in the championship overall, doing it all with a real family-run team, the 246 Jensen Brickley Racing Team. Jensen, talk a little bit about Snetterton, what it was like getting onto the grid in TCR UK for the first time, and then, once you're there, how you got on.
Yeah, so we had limited pre-season testing because we had quite a lot planned, and then snow and rain really knackered us over in pre-season. So we kind of went into it a little bit blind. It was like we had done a couple of days that were good, and we had a few new tyre runs, but new tyres were really alien to me on these massive slicks, like getting heat into them and everything. So it was all a bit of a learning curve, but yeah, we're fairly happy with 2 8ths in the races and 8th in qualifying, and yeah, we're still in the top 10 in the championship, so it's all to play for. We're just hoping to build on that really from now.
I mean, you're from a short oval background originally. Now, that is known as very, very physical, tough racing. Were you surprised some of the battles you had at Snetterton? Were you surprised the level of physicality of the drivers, or were you expecting that coming in just because of the calibre of the names we've got on the grid?
Yeah, I was expecting it, but I think I was too kind because, again, like you say, it's family run team. We're looking after the car. It's not like, oh, if you trash it, we just rebuild it and go again. It's like preserving the car almost. But I think I found towards the end of race 2, when I got battered about at the start, that when you do the push-in, you get less damage. So, again, it's just all a learning curve, so we're going to work from it.
Now, talking about, you've gained a lot of confidence now coming into Croft. The circuit, is it something that suits you?
So, it's a bit of a mid one really. I've had good results here, I've had bad results here, I've had crashes here, but it's one of them, isn't it? You got to get on with it. So, but yeah, it's not a bad circuit really. It's good grip levels, and it's tricky.
Now, you've got Max Coates here, you've got Pete Felix here, you've got an engineer here as well, but this is really you, your dad, your uncle, operating this together. It gives you a lot more satisfaction, yes? Would that be right in thinking, when you are achieving what you're achieving against some of these big teams? Tell us a little bit about the day-to-day life of Jensen Brickley Racing. Who does what? Apart from, you do the driving, obviously, but who does what before we get the car on the track?
Yeah, so my dad owns a truck mechanic business, so we've basically got a sectioned off bit within that to run the team, and it's me and the engineer Mark. We go down 2-3 days a week and basically work on the car, re-prep it, everything, go through it all, and then when we go to race weekends, I come down on the Thursday with Mark, and we've got Matt as well helping out, and we set all up with the boarding and the flooring and everything, and prep the car. And then after that, I don't really do much for the rest of the weekend, obviously. Just
pedal it about and try not to damage it, yeah?
Yeah, that's all. And then I've got my uncle and then a couple of lads who help out, and my dad. So yeah, it's a proper family team.
And of course, being in the garages this year as the main event on the bill, the TCR UK, that's going to help a team like yourself a lot more, because you haven't got the awning to set up, but you haven't got the manpower. I suppose, yeah, you're setting up flooring and things, but that helps you a lot.
Yeah, it definitely helps. It's a lot easier being in garages, and it's more convenient, isn't it, for everyone?
Now, we're 2 races into our TCR career. This morning, in practice, someone put it on P1, didn't they?
Yeah, we did, but we know everyone wasn't going full out in FP1. But yeah, we're hoping to be around there in quali, hopefully, if all goes to plan.
Yes, and of course, this year with the prize money being available for pole position in qualifying, that's going to mean a lot more to a small team like you guys than some of the other bigger teams.
Yeah, definitely. It will mean a lot if we get some prize money out of anything, really. But yeah, it's all helps, isn't it? Every little helps, as they say.
Every little helps. The goal this year, the goal when you started the championship was what, compared to the goal after Snetterton?
The goal when we started was, it was a tall order, but we was hoping for top 5s at Snet. We had a couple of issues with the car. We'll take 8s. It's fine, and we're hoping to build on that again and hopefully aim for top 5s here, and then towards the middle of the season go for top 3s, and then hopefully by the end of the year we have got a win or 2. But yeah.
So the goal is on to be a rookie in the championship, but a race winner as a rookie.
Yeah, definitely.
And what would the party in the Jensen Brickley household be like if that comes to fruition?
Yeah, well, there'd be no shouting or minimal shouting if we have a win.
Excellent. Well, Jensen Brickley, best of luck. It's really good to have the car, have your family here as part of the paddock. One of the privateers, Jensen Brickley Racing.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, and a great thanks to Jensen Brickley for giving us a little bit of an insight into what life is like here in the TCR paddock running as a family team. Well, it's race 4 of the 2023 TCR UK season here at Croft, the second and final race of the day. Myself, Henry Baudet, Alex Goldschmidt, joined by Scott Woodworth, who is going to be in the commentary box. We're in pit lane area. The cars are going to be released. There's been a few little incidents here at Croft, which is really running a little bit behind schedule. So as soon as the Mazdas have cleared the grid, then the TCR cars are going to go out, then we're going to go out there and speak to some of the drivers before they get going for what promises to be an excellent race. If this morning's race is anything to go by, this is going to be a cracker. The skies are blue, the temperature is still very, very warm indeed.
As you can all probably see, we've both caught the sun a little bit, but you know what?
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. Put a blocker on that one. Maybe some factor 50 from one of the marshals might come in handy, but yeah, great opening race. First ever Gen 2 Audi Sport win here in TCR UK, and also a first pole position. Jack Constable has got 40 points plus 6 for pole. He's got $2.5 grand in his back pocket now from this weekend, but the prize money is still around. £750 for the race winner here for round 4 of the 2023 TCR UK Touring Car Championship. But we have a reverse grid top 10, and that looks spicy.
It does indeed. Alex Lee will be starting from pole position. Brad Hutchison, local driver, alongside him on row number 1. Jensen Brickley, we've just heard from, on row number 2. But again, starting right at the back will be defending series champion Chris Marley. Now, this is going to be interesting, Alex. How are we, and Jason the cameraman, how are we all going to get out from the pit lane? Because the cars will be heading out very soon. In fact, we'll probably stay here, and then when the cars go out, we'll go out onto the grid. It'll be a great opportunity to see these cars up close and personal as they go out onto the circuit.
I've got a very, very not foreboding feeling right now, but it's one that is very, very pertinent, because we saw the Audi versus Cupra battle between Jack Constable and Carl Boardley. The run down to Clairvaux was incredibly important, but the getaway from the line was equally just as important. And Carl Boardley pulled off the move of the season so far. Round the outside, went into Hawthorns, and Constable gave him room. It was a fair exchange, and that just showcases the calibre of TCR UK in 2023. You know, we're going to have more cars at Oldham Park on the 10th of June, which is going to be a compacted format. So,
oh yes.
So
one day.
So it's practice, qualifying, and 2 races. That's going to be even more crucial, because we'll be heading towards the midpoint of the season, Knockhill, in the penultimate weekend of July, so north of the border, one of the most famous, well, it's the famous Scottish circuit, of course run in some form by touring car legend in his own right, Gordon Shedden. And you know what? For that to be on the bill, I'm so looking forward to watching that from wherever I am at that time, because TCR UK, we've been bitten by the bug, you, me and Scott, all three of us here this weekend. And just to think,
well, I've been bitten by something, but I think that's one of North Yorkshire's finest insects. I'm not quite sure, but there we go. There we go. Yeah, what we're trying to say is that there's a lot of TCR UK action coming up. This championship is going to some of the UK's finest circuits. Because here, this track here, this is a really underrated circuit. The drivers love it. Now, we're both very lucky. We work in this business and we can speak to drivers all day long. You ask the drivers, in British motorsport, what's your favourite corner complex area of any track? So many of them say, oh, Jim Clark S's and Barcroft at Croft.
Yeah, also you could add on to that list Paddock Hill Bend, Brands Hatch, because we're going there the same weekend as the Formula Ford Festival, so there is going to be an absolute hive of activity, again through the association with the BRSCC, and a big thank you to them for helping to bring TCR UK into the garages. So it's the headline attraction, it's the feature, it's the one that everyone is so excited, they're chomping at the bit, the drivers are ready, the cars are now starting to move out of the pit lane. I just see Gary Townsend's Gen 2 Audi RS3 LMS, had a quick chat with him between races 3 and 4 of the 2023 season, but they're going to be making them go out onto the grid, then they're going to have a formation lap, and they'll then do a tyre swap, and then we will get ready to go racing for another 25 minutes. Folks, I mean, I did say it's going to be majestic. The weather has been absolutely royal all weekend long.
And you've got your royal pun in as well on this weekend. It's a key.
Twice.
There we go.
Two in one phrase.
Now, the good thing is that obviously this is not the only race here. There's lots of support race here where we get an insight into some of the TCR stars of tomorrow. The Mazda race that's just finished has been won by a young driver currently in karting, Adam Sparrow. And Adam is, again, a real talent. I think if somebody comes along and backs that young man, he will be a fixture in the TCR paddock for years to come. Also, a couple of bits of other business. Nick Beaumont, happy birthday. He's the team boss for Matthew Wilson. I think it's his 57th, 33rd, 29th, no, it's his 73rd birthday today. I'm only joking, Nick, but happy birthday to Nick. And also, Carl Boardley's team. So, Carl Boardley, winner on the road of race number 1, now demoted to second after a 5-second penalty, starting 9th. He moved away from his original team at Snetson. He reset up his own Carl Boardley motorsport team. He managed to drag Nick Hart out of retirement. Nick Hart was working with a young driver, another young driver, potential TCR UK driver of the future, Theo McCorris. He was helping him out, but he dragged Nick Hart out of retirement to help run there. So Nick has worked absolutely for hours and hours and hours to get the car where it needs to be. And I know Nick wanted to say a big thank you to Delta Raceway, to Theo's parents, Mary and Dino, for sorting out all the clothing and the equipment that they can come here to look professional and race professional. So a big thank you to them at Delta Raceway. And again, a big thank you to Carl Boardley. Wanted to say a big thank you to Nick Hart. And Nick Hart wanted to say, been away for 3 weeks. Don't worry, Millie. Don't worry, Harriet. Daddy's coming home soon. Not me, but Nick. You know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, also, we have to look at the grid as well. Bruce Winfield, maximum competition weight ballast, 40 kilos. He starts on the outside of row number 2. Then you've got Adam Shepherd. Joe Marshall has been a standout in the other Rob Boston racing car in the number 99. Callum Newsham will have Bradley Kent alongside him on row 4, Carl Boardley and Jack Constable. Then right behind them, you've got the Muffin Man. There he is, Oliver Cottam, the number 98.
Yeah, and great to see these guys. There goes Matthew Wilson. It's his team boss, Nick Beaumont's birthday. There's Carl Boardley, and a big thank you to Nick Hart GT and Delta Racer. There's Steve Gales, again a fan favourite in the paddock, and a young fan earlier wanting his photo taken with Steve. There's Darryl Wilson, thumbs up from Darryl, and Darren Lewis. That car understeering like crazy in race number 1, undrivable, had to come into pit. Hopefully they've got that car sorted out. Now, that means that part of the circuit is clear. We can make our way out onto the track here. There is a look. It's a bit of a traffic jam trying to get everyone out onto the grid, have to be said. Yeah, if we have a little look behind us there, Jace the cameraman, 20 TCR cars all battling to get out. We have got Adrian Wilmot, we have got Scott Sumpton, and I can see Chris Smiley's car also out there. So all the drivers that had problems in race 1, Alex, are out in race 2. A full 20 car lineup.
And it's just like a traffic jam on a Friday night in the M25 going home.
Don't talk about going home, it's a Sunday night and a bank holiday. No.
That's why I said Friday. I made it easier for you there, Henry. But yeah, I mean, to hear these these 2-litre inline-4 turbocharged engines producing north 350 brake horsepower. Balance and performance was a conversation that you, myself, and TCR, part of your main man,
Supremo.
Mr.
He's not the boss, because Nicky Lyons is the boss. We know that.
He's the real boss. We all know that. I'm sure Stuart knows that as well. But Nicky's been absolutely standout. Stuart was great. He said the Elantra is coming back, so fans of 4-door saloons, you will be more than catered for here in TCR UK. Of course, we're going to have more cars on the grid for Oulton Park.
So here we go then, out onto the grid. Thank you very much. Again, a big thank you to the marshalling team here, the Orange Army here at Croft. Did a sterling job all weekend. There's something about a racetrack on a sunny Sunday evening. It is absolutely there. Although, we say sunny, behind us, I don't know if the camera wants to pan just I don't want to be the harbinger of doom, ladies and gentlemen. However, blue sky. Not blue sky, but luckily there's no wind. So, I mean, there's a lot of hot air being blown about, but that's just me and you, Alex, talking. But I mean,
especially you.
Especially me, but the weather is good. Now, the cars are going around, so they'll do one out lap, they'll do a sighting lap, they'll stop on the grid, they'll do the crossover tyre, they'll do some of the tyre crossover, then they'll do their rolling lap, then they'll come to the line.
Also, very, very important information I managed to collate from the pit lane. Both Ollie Cottam and Alex Lee had major tyre problems. I got shown pictures. It looked like like a pizza slice. That was what the front left on Oliver Cottam's looked like. I then looked at a photograph of Alex Lee's tyre. There was not really carcass on such, so...
Yes, I mean, again, Goodyear do a fantastic job supplying the series, but it's the nature. This is a resurfaced track. It's a resurfaced track. It's an old school track. Is it billiard table smooth? No, but the drivers love it. Are all the corners the same? The runoffs the same? No. Are the curbs a bit damaging? Are there divots and bumps off the circuit? Of course there are. But that's what makes old school is cool. We haven't interviewed one of our promotional ladies. It's a fine chance to interview one of our promotional. Hello, promotional lady. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Standing here, you know, Croft. Are you a racing car fan or are you holding a sign fan?
I would say I'm a racing car fan.
Excellent, excellent. Got a favourite driver? Do you know any of the drivers?
Yes.
Go on then, spill the beans.
Jack Constable.
There we go. Only because he won the first race. Glory Hunter. Glory Hunter. There we go. But again, it's great to see. Scott Woodward has joined us on the grid. Scott, going to join me in the commentary. Whoa, Scott, they've let you out the commentary box, mate. Race 1 was a bit breathless. Race 2 looks just as tasty.
Yeah, definitely so. Particularly with the partial reverse grid, I think it's going to be quite intriguing to see how people get on with that. But Brad Hutchinson, Jensen Brickley up towards the front as well. A couple of guys towards the back. I think one guy's going to be fired up is definitely Carl Boardley, because of course he wanted to try and redeem himself after he lost that win due to the time penalty for track limits. I think it's going to be quite intriguing to see how this works out. Reverse grid races tend to be quite frenetic. We saw that in the Civic Cup race and others earlier on. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the second race plays out. But Alex Lee, he's someone who, if you give him a chance to take an inch, he'll run a mile. So he was someone who, given the opportunity to really go for the victory, and he will go for it. He is a rapid driver. And one thing I'll give it to context, it was crazy. 2 years ago, he was here as a Fiesta Junior driver. So he's now one of the youngest drivers on the grid. He's a race-winning TCR UK driver, and he's now on pole position again. He could be a dark horse for victory. I keep talking about dark horses, but also one guy I'm watching out for, guy in P4, Bruce Winfield. He's going to be up there a little harder than he was in race 1. I'll watch out for him.
Okay, thank you very much, Scott. Scott's going to join us in the commentary box. Alex, let's speak to some drivers. Race 1 was Cupra versus Audi, but we've got a Hyundai on row number 1. Let's try and have a word with our pole sitter, shall we? Tell you what, he's got his window now. You get your elbow in there. Go on.
Okay. I'm just going to wait until they drop the car down.
Don't worry about that.
No, because I don't want my legs cut off by these massively huge aerodynamic wings. So they're just, the side skirts helps with the aerodynamics here on the I-30.
The mechanics communicating. Car's going to drop. The mechanics communicating with him. Obviously, he's not just sitting there. They're going to give him the signal now. Hand goes up. The air jacks that tss, we will hear, and then you can chat there. Oh, there's a pop, there's a bang. It just gives you an idea of how much work goes into these cars. Right, now's your moment, Alex.
Right, they've actually got to manoeuvre the car because he's not in the correct grid position.
Oh dear.
So we must. Well, yes. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to speak to the local lad, Brad Hutchison. Local circuit to him. Also, one will be at Oulton Park. If I can. Right, Brad, you're on the front row. Mate, how you feeling about this one? Because P9 in the opening race, one question, what are you going to do? What's your plan?
Oh, well, the plan's to win the race. Whether that happens will be another story. Obviously, the other cars are very fast around us. But we'll make this one nice and wide and we'll do it for Bondit. So it should be good.
Brilliant. Good luck out there. Go get him, Brad. So, Henry, he's out here to win it. Local lad. He's going to get another one, hopefully, at Oldham Park. Do you want to go over and have a quick chat with Jensen? Because we haven't got much time.
Well, we'll try to. I've got to say that Brad Hutchinson's got a load of sponsors here. A big thanks to all his sponsors. They've got some great hospitality. I have promised that if Brad Hutchinson wins, I'm going to sing for one of his sponsors. I'm not quite sure. There's Jensen Brickley. We've just heard from Jensen Brickley. Championship leader Bruce Winfield. So we've spoken to Jensen Brickley. Here's Bruce Winfield. Bruce will come over and try and have a very quick chat with our championship leaders here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hiya, Bruce. Sorry, I know you're just about to go. This is your time to shine.
I can't tell what you're saying, to be honest, but yeah, obviously.
Time to shine.
Say it again?
That's it, time to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, P4. We want to move forward, obviously. So, yeah, let's get to it.
Have you got the car?
Yes.
Good answer. There we go. It's not going to be Cupra versus Audi. It's going to be Cupra versus Audi versus Hyundai. I got to go and commentate.
Right, Henry, get yourself back off there. But it's round 4. TCR UK Touring Car Championship, 25 minutes. Hyundai versus Audi on the front row. Cupra, Hyundai and Hyundai rounding out the top 5. After this short commercial break, we're going to go racing for the final time here at Croft. And after that, you'll be joining Scott Woodwis and Henry Burdett on commentary. Let's go racing one final time, folks.
Do you wonder why your competitors' websites appear in Google searches ahead of you? Then make a call to the SEO experts Woya and understand how your business can be more visible online. As the official marketing partner of TCR UK, you can now work with a trusted search engine optimization partner to increase web traffic, inquiries and sales. Speak to us for your free audit and quote by visiting woya.co.uk today.
Well, there's a song playing over the tannoy says, when the going gets tough, the tough indeed get going. We're getting set now for round 4 of 2023's TCR UK Touring Car Championship. And with a partially reversed grid, it should be quite a barnstormer. Race 1 was quite the thriller. Hopefully more of the same coming up here for this race this afternoon. Scott Woodwis and Henry Burdett back on commentary once again, out on their tyre rotation lap, so to speak. So it's not a formation lap on this one. They'll get one lap round to put some more heat and pressure into their tyres. Then the teams will go around and switch the tyres around so they can kind of get them more cooling, trying to put some heat into the rears and the fronts of these cars so that they're as sticky as possible. And then as we go forward through the racing, it should be good. So this is how they're going to line up then. Alex Lee starts on pole position thanks to the partial reverse grid. He has Brad Hutchinson alongside him in the Gen 1 Audi RS3 LMS. Should be quite a tasty front row of the grid, as it should also be for row 2. Jensen Brickley starting 3rd in the Cupra, and champion leader coming into the weekend, Bruce Winfield, much higher than he was in race 1. He starts from 4th in the Area Motorsport Hyundai. Row 3 of the grid sees Adam Shepherd, who was starting in another of the Area Motorsport Hyundais. Again, lucky to be here after got some last minute sponsorship to start 5th this time. Joe Marshall, he was one of the demon starters in the 2nd race at Stetterton. See if he can do the same again from 6th on the grid in the Rob Boston Racing Audi. 7th for Callum Newsham, much better weekend this time. What can he do from the 4th row of the grid? And Bradley Kent getting his first podium in race 1, starts 8th in the Essex and Kent Hyundai Veloster. And then the top 2 from not the race last time out, Carl Bordley, who won the race on the road, but then was given a 5-second penalty for track limits, and that was then handed to Jack Constable, who took his the first win for Rob Boston Racing and for an Audi in TCR, and his 5th win to go 3rd on the all-time winners list. Dan Kirby on the 6th row of the grid for the Cupra, and Oliver Cottam in the first of the Paul Sheard Racing Audi RS3 Gen 2s. He starts from 12th on the grid. He's 13th on the grid for Andy Wilmot, who was last year's Goodyear Diamond Trophy champion. making a one-off appearance in another customer's car in the Hyundai. He's alongside Matthew Wilson in his JW Bird Cupra, starting in 14th on the grid. 15th on the grid, Gary Townsend had a couple of spins and problems. He'll be starting back on the 8th row alongside Darrell Wilson, who also had a couple of excursions in the Vauxhall. He will have been trying to make some places up from 16th in the Astra, 17th for Steve Gales, and a bit of an off weekend all the way through. And then it's the 3 cars who didn't make to the end properly, including the 2 Restart Racing Hondas. Scott Sumton pulled off at Tower Bend in 18th place, and crucially, we lost Chris Smiley early on in the new FL5 Civic. Watch for him to blast through for 19th on the grid. He starts alongside Darren Lewis, who pitted early on with mechanical issues.
It was an exhaust sensor, Scott, that went on Chris Smiley's car that caused his retirement. Understeer for Darren Lewis, but mechanical problems all been fixed.
I see. So I think they've had their tyre rotation lap going around to the grid, which means we're going to get racing this time by. This could be quite exciting. Alex Lee has been a race winner in TCR before, but can he do it from this reverse grid on the front row? And also watch for those guys that were quick in the opening stages of race number 1, particularly also the 2 Restart Racing Hondas that will be at the back. So Alex Lee on pole, Brad Hutchinson alongside. Watch for Jensen Brickley and particularly Bruce Winfield, and also Joe Marshall and Adam Shepherd as well. It is round 4 of 2023's TCR UK Touring Car Championship, all set to get underway as the revs rise. The green flag goes up. Who will win the sprint down towards Clairvaux for the 4th time this weekend? Lights are out, and we're TCR racing at Croft 2 this weekend. It's a cracking start for Brad Hutchinson from the outside. Again, it's the outside of the front row that gets the better start, and headlights are blazing already for Brad Hutchinson. He leads the pack down towards Clairvaux. It's Hutchinson, Lee side by side for 3rd. It's Brickley up the inside of Bruce Winfield for 4th position, and they're all getting to the mix. And Joe Marshall again gunning up the inside as there goes Andy Wilmot skipping the chicane. Round the out goes the fast starting Chris Smiley. He's up 6 or 7 places already. Big sideways slide out of the chicane for Brad Hutchinson. And already Alex Lee on his toes in 2nd place. It's Brickley, Shepherd, Winfield, then it's Jack Constable, and it's also Callum Newsham up in 7th place. Down towards Tower for the first time, all over each other again, but once more, apart from a couple of cars going a little wide and skipping the chicane, all seeming clean for the first few corners, Henry.
Yeah, Brad Hutchinson, he's got a load of sponsors here. He's got a huge hospitality unit. He's got his mum and dad there feeding all his sponsors. He said he wants to put a really good show on for the people that make him, help him go racing, and he is doing that. Great start. At Hawthorns, I noticed a couple of drivers getting pushed a little bit wide. Bradley Kent was forced wide there. You can see him going through behind Callum Newsham, but by and large, another very, very clean start. Andy Wilmot losing it under braking going into Hawthorns, taking it to the inside, but he was hard on the brakes and didn't make contact with anybody. And of course, that's not his car. Well, it is his car, but it's not his to drive regularly. There goes Bradley Kent, though, Scott, making a move. He's not hanging about. Now, the key is, can our Race 1 contenders get through the traffic up the front early doors?
Looks at the moment, Carl Baldy's stuck in the pack, and also so too is Jack Constable. They're right down the bottom of the teams. There's contact between Gary Townsend off the road. That's Jack Constable
That's
off
Constable.
the road. Constable, the Race 1 winner, in trouble. He's off the road on the exit of the hairpin. We'll get back to him in a second, but it's Hutchinson who leads the way at the end of lap number 1 from Lee, Brickley, Shepherd, Winfield, Marshall, Kent, Newsham, Baldy and Kirby. That's the top 10s that come up through Hawthorns. All nose to tail so far. A little wide out there for Joe Marshall coming through Hawthorns, but onto the back straight. Brad Hutchinson wide,
no!
sideways off of the race leader, off onto the grass next to Tower Bend, but somehow kept his foot in and still leads the race. How on earth is that possible?
Unbelievable car control, Scott. I couldn't believe the first lap round. Hutchinson was a bit leery coming out of the chicane, and he fully gunned it, but he's lost the lead now. It's side by side. They come out the tower. I think Hutchinson's got some grass in his grill.
Yeah, Lax leads the front there with Jensen Brickley in the mix. Hutchinson 2nd, Shepherd in 3rd. He really has kicked off on lap 2 here in TCR UK, and the one that's really charging is Chris Smiley. Context, he started back in 19th, up to 11th place already, and chasing off with Dan Kirby for a top 10. But here's something for a bit of connection between for this weekend. 2 Fiesta Junior graduates, 1-2 in the race at the moment at this point in time. It's Hutchinson 3rd with Shepherd 4th. Look at this lead pack, it's lap 2, and they're all over each other. It's the complex, sideways for Lee as he gets under brakes into the first part of the complex, and Brickley's trying to go with him. Hutchinson recovering in 3rd, but here's that grass. There's doesn't really any grass on that one. Shepherd has a look up the inside and forces his way through. Hyundai past the Audi. There's all sorts. They're 2 by 2. Hurrah, they're 3 abreast into the hairpin. All action, and it's only the end of lap 2.
Incredible stuff there. Brad Hutchinson, though, is going to have to start watching the temperature gauges in that car. He cannot afford to. He's side by side. Bruce Winfield, wheel to wheel.
Wheel to wheel and contact into the braking zone. Also the car to watch, you have to say, first proper flying lap out of this race, fast lap of the race. Who took it? Chris Smiley, 1 minute 24.125. That FL5 Civic is looking rapid, but look at the freight trains, the top 12 cars all together in a line, and it's only lap number 3. Down towards the complex at Tower once again, and Lee's car wiggling around under braking. This is now where they're going to try and get away, but they're so competitive amongst each other that trying to make a break here is so tough, because it's one small slip, one small mistake, and you could find yourself slipping back 2-3
3, 4 spaces, let alone 1 or 2.
And of course, in this pack, every driver's got someone right behind them. So if they move offline to make a move, they're going to get attacked and passed.
Yeah, as has Jensen Brickley into a lead then here as he got past. That's our 3rd different leader in as many laps in this race. So Jensen Brickley then, last year's Fiesta ST240 champion and the 2021 Fiesta Junior champion, now trying to charge away here. So as they come up towards the complex now for the 3rd time, it's now Brickley trying to pull away here, and he needs this. He's actually now realising that now Alex Lee's starting to become a slight cork in the bottle here, because look, he's starting to pull away already. Hutchison looking back up the inside straight, trying to get past us. There goes Shepherd to take 2nd from Lee. Hutchison might get past him too. And here comes also, Joe Marshall and Bruce Winfield, who get inside of each other. This is proper frantic touring car racing at the end of lap number 3 as we get wheel to wheel with Lee and Winfield. Actually said, come on, Brad, that wasn't really called for. Into the side of Alex Lee, just bullies him out of the way. Alex says, not on your life, you're going to try and push me out of the way. Have that for size back up the inside. Brad Hutchison seems, I think, a tad frustrated.
Indeed, yeah, and of course you're at your home circuit, you've got lots of people here, you were leading the race, you make a mistake, now you're dropping back, and you know that it's going to be harder and harder to pick up places, the field gets spread out. There's Joe Marshall now right behind him in P5. Winfield, our championship leaders in 6. Look at these cars moving about under braking. Marshall to the inside of Hutchinson, side by side, Scott.
Fantastic stuff, and Hutchison again gets shuffled out wide. He's not having the best of luck, is he? From the lead to about 6th or 7th. I appreciate he's frustrated, but I mean, headbutting Alex Lee down the pit straight, that's not called for. Anyway, back to the Jim Clark S's. You see that they're all mired in the pack here, trying to find a spot to get through. And this is the key thing. Jack Constable's back down in 13th place with the fastest lap of the race. Carl Baldley's 10th, and Chris Smiley's up there in 11th. They're all over each other here. You've got 2 Coopers at play with Dan Kirby and Carl Baldley. Here comes Chris Smiley to make it 3 abreast now, possibly, for what could be 11th position. Down towards the complex, and Smiley gets boxed out here. He can't get past either Kirby or Constable. Look at Oliver Cotton trying to close in now in the Porsche Racing Gen 2 Audi RS3. He's up there now to 12th position. Meanwhile, Alex Lee continues to defend, but he's under attack from all sorts at the hairpin. He's got right behind him immediately. He's got Bruce Winfield in there, plus Bradley Kent, Newsham, Kirby, Bordley, and in the mix as well. As here comes Hutchison again looking this way and that. Fired up, I think, but he probably needs to tone down his aggression a little bit, unless he might not start racking up penalties.
Yep, into turn 1. There's Bawley making a move on Smiley. I've got to say, when they iron out those teething problems with that Honda is going to be one fast race car. Cotton right behind him. Oliver Cotton in 12th place. If I was 16-year-old Oliver Cotton right now, I would get my notebook out and start taking notes, because you're learning from the best. You're in this great pack of talented drivers. Oh!
Oh, that's contact. That's Brad Hutchison. I wasn't sure if there was either contact or something broke on the back of the Audi, but it's more contact again. And I think Brad Hutchison, again, if he wasn't a bad mood there, would be absolutely steaming after that, because he seems to be, it's his first 3 or 4 laps. He's thinking, what I've got to do is have a lap where either I don't have an off, don't have a slide somewhere, something doesn't fall off, or I don't get hit by somebody. Brad Hutchison falling down the back half of the front row. It's not been the second race ideally after a start, has it?
And look at the damage on the front, the right front corner of Bruce Winfield. That is going to affect his aerodynamics. That's going to affect his straight line speed. It's going to affect him into the corners. As you can see there now in front of them, Marshall making a move, looking for Alex Lee. Brickley, meanwhile, let's not forget Jensen Brickley. There's Adam Shepherd. So Jensen Brickley, newcomer to the championship, leads this race. Adam Shepherd, who wasn't even racing until 7 o'clock Friday night. They are 1 and 2. This is a fantastic battle to watch, Scott. But the leaders are getting away. This is fantastic. This is Cooper and Hyundai 1, 2, and everyone else in 3rd.
Yeah, everyone else trying to be 3rd. As Alex Lee holds on to it. Here comes Joe Marshall, who was really in contention for the win in Stetson at race 2 a couple of weeks ago, but then threw it away after he spun off Brundle Nelson. He's looking really fired up and showing the proper potential of that RS2 Audi. Of course, we had the win for his teammate Jack Constable in race 1 after the penalty for Carl Baldley, but now it's Joe Marshall's turn. He really does like these reverse good races, because he really starts to come alive, but he's now under threat from the championship leader, because here comes Bruce Winfield to try and go on the attack. Also in the mix is both Bradley Kent and Callum Newsham. As for Chris Smiley, there's bodywork all over the place. That's from Bruce Winfield's car, Brad Hutchison's car after it came off, and also Bruce Winfield, because he's missing the front right wing as he comes up now out of Town Bend and towards the Jim Clark S's. But Alex Lee, as quick as he is, the top 2 are getting away, and I hate to say it, he's acting like a bit of a cork in the bottle right now.
He is, but I mean, he's got to defend. He's thinking podium. Bruce Winfield has now got Bradley Kent right behind him. Then it's Callum Newsham. Brad Hutchinson's car doesn't look as though it's too badly affected by that incident. He was very, very lucky not to knock the suspension off there, I've got to say. Now Marshall's going to try and attack Alex Lee. Side by side behind. Here comes Hutchinson on Newsham. No, into the complex. Newsham just hangs on.
very fast and frantic. It's all the action for third place. The top two are missing this, and there was somebody off in the background. I couldn't quite catch who that was. It might be Dan Kirby, I think. It looked like Dan Kirby or possibly Jack Constable, one of the two. It was definitely a white, red and black car that went off the road. It's nice passenger window is out, so that's gone. It's Dan Kirby off the road. Dan Kirby is the barriers that is that going to prompt a possible safety car, I wonder. Dan Kirby has gone off in front of all people, in front of the boss. In fact, Stuart Lyons giving a phone call thinking that's not what I meant by give it a good go, Dan. Not into the barriers, I didn't want that. But here comes Jack Constable getting around Chris Smiley now, so he's actually charging back up the order now. But I wonder, it's as I thought it was precarious, and it is precarious enough because safety car has been deployed, and the two people that we absolutely gusted at that is White and Shepherd, but particularly Jensen Brickley, 2.7 seconds up the road, and now that lead is about to be completely eradicated.
Bradley Kent running over debris there. Now, he's going into there, we saw the debris from Hutchinson's car there. I hope that hasn't given Bradley Kent a puncture. I think, Scott, we can now breathe. That was absolutely frantic. But
sort of, yes.
At the end of lap number 6, Jensen Brickley and Adam Shepherd led by 7 seconds. Now, those are two drivers that, again, a win is a win, but there is Dan Kirby who went off there. And we're getting word that Joe Marshall's passenger window has come out. Now, there's no safety car, so they're actually going out. So we had apologies there, miscommunication on screen there, Scott. And Alex Goldschmidt, you can see they're down getting all that, but they're going to keep the racing going, maybe like a full course caution. Brickley's going to see the green flag waving. They've cleared their great work for the marshalling team, Scott.
Yeah, so I think there was the prompt to go for a safety car, but then Dan Kirby was able to get his car moving under his own steam again. In fact, there he is back out into the race. Ironically, as the leaders come back around, but look what it's done. It technically, well, I think they're acting like it's still a safety car, but it's not. It's green flag. They've been shown the green flag, but they're not actually going. Now they're going. So I think there's a bit of confusion there. I think initially there was a safety car call, but because Dan Kirby got his car moving, Croft call decided actually we don't need that. But what it has done, ironically, is actually like a competition caution. Everyone's close back up again. It's now down to Brickley and Shepherd to get after them. But Joe Marshall's got a great chance here in third place. We know how feisty he is in the reverse grid races back at Snetterton. Now at Croft in third place. If he can use the Audi to that potential, it could be 2 out of 2 for the 4 rings from Ingolstadt.
Absolutely. Cupra, Hyundai, Audi. 1, 2, 3. Honda coming charging up to the field in the form of Chris Smiley. There's Hutchinson. Well, he's now battling with Oliver Cotton. It may not be a local win for Brad Hutchinson this weekend, but he has given his fans and his sponsors value for money in terms of entertainment. There is Bradley Kent still keeping Callum Newsham at bay. They've got to close in on Carl Bordley. So our race 1 winner, where is he? Jack Constable, P9. Race 2 winner on the road, P7 for Carl Bordley at the moment. Less than 4 seconds off the lead. 30 minutes to go, Scott.
13 minutes to go where anything and everything could possibly happen. Bordley on the attack now, getting on the back of Alex Lee as they turn in through the complex now once again. This is on lap 8 as they come back into the view now to the end of another lap. And we can see both Lee go defensive here, but it looks like whatever pace he had initially, it's just dropping off like a stone because he's got all sorts of cars behind him. Callum Newsham up the inside of both Bradley Kent and possibly Carl Bordley as they come back down the straight. So it's still Jensen Brickley that leads then. Shepherd in second place, Marshall in third, then Bruce Winfield in fourth. That's the top 4 escaping. Now for 5th backwards is Alex Lee and everyone else trying to battle through. Kent and Newsham side by side, and Kent holds on to the place while Newsham looked round the outside. Couldn't make that one stick, and also trying to charge back through now. There you can see just at the back of that queue is car number 11, Jack Constable in 9th place, ahead of Chris Smiley back in 10th.
19-year-old Jensen Brickley. He's got his head down. So, I mean, think about this, Scott. He was leading by a great deal. Then you had the sort of the de facto safety car. Look at all that debris. Oh, Constable's got it locked up in the tower. Get it slowed down, Jack. He just about gets it slowed down. Brickley is driving away once again, showing a huge amount of maturity. Totally impressive.
Well, first of all, what a move that was from Jack Constable down the inside where there was tons of debris down at Tower Bend. He made it stick and just about got it anchored up on the apex. Excellent stuff from Jack Constable to get up now to 8th position. But you're absolutely right. Jensen Brickley showing plenty of maturity out here. He did say, I remember there was always another change there. You can see that's Carl Bordley getting past Alex Lee, and now Alex Lee under threat from Brad Kent. And also here comes Joe Marshall. 3 abreast into the complex. That will never work, and it doesn't. Alex Lee's the side of Bradley Kent. It was contact from Jack Constable. Off goes Bradley Kent. And after such a great race in race number 1, his luck once again falls like a stone. What does Bradley Kent have to do to get to consistent good luck in this championship?
I've got to say that Jack Constable really committed. I think he potentially over-committed. There was already 2 wide. He went in, and it wasn't a massive amount of contact. It was just enough. And one of the Hyundai's pitting, one of the area motorsport cars pitting. Now we saw Alex Lee slowing down. We may think, and it's Lee that's pitted.
Yeah, Alex Lee with a legacy from that contactor. He's off the road, so that's the end of his chances of a strong result. He was going backwards a little bit. There's the contact. That was when after he was pinballed into Bradley Kent. He got the tank with Joe Marshall. He then went into Kent. Here's the replay. The right of that car. He'll carry on if he can, but that's his chance of a strong result over.
Meanwhile, championship leader Bruce Winfield, the car battered, bruised, but still running and still in P4. Joe Marshall is 1.4 seconds ahead of him. There's Boardley now up to the 5th position. Constable with a few war wounds in 6th. Newsham in 7th. And Smiley from P20 to P8. Now, can Callum Newsham, can he sense that Jack Constable may be a little bit rattled by that incident, Scott? He's looking very racy, and here's a look back in the pack here. Action all the way up and down. There's Darrell Wilson, Gary Townsend, Matthew Wilson, and the rest.
Big lock of Darrell Wilson. He's got damage on that right front, so off the road he goes. It's not been the best luck of weekend for Darrell Wilson this weekend. It wasn't at Stetson either, I'm afraid. So that Astra's got some serious damage to their front, but thankfully he's pulling it off as far as he can off the road and actually behind the barriers. That shouldn't warrant any kind of problems in terms of the local yellow flag, which has already been withdrawn. So that's going to be an unfortunate end to the weekend for Darrell Wilson. Out in front, which you mentioned, 1.8 seconds now the gap between Jensen Brickley and Adam Shepherd. So Jensen Brickley, I was mentioning before that the incident happened at the complex. Andy McHugh made a very good point, is that Jensen was saying that he feels he's quite suitably prepared for this championship because the last car he came out of was a car that had very similar characteristics to these cars, only no error, and that was he was the Fiesta ST240 champion, so that was on slicks with a turbo, front-wheel drive, so he actually won that championship and felt very comfortable straight away. And of course, before that, he was racing in Fiesta Juniors, front-wheel drive, non-turbo, but of course on junior tyres as well. So he's driven front-wheel drive all his life, even back to his mini stock days as well. But he's now got to the point now he seems pretty comfortable with this car. And again, forget it's the reverse grid race. He's actually doing a fantastic job out in front. There's Gary Townsend from Ashley Morton, one of our pit lane marshal chiefs, helping him out. Just getting a bit of hand, there's a bit of fire in that one. But I love Ash's attempt to kind of fan that out. Oh, just wipe a bit of paper on that, that should be fine. There's Dan Kirby in front of Jensen Brickley, who, interestingly enough, has not been caught by Jensen Brickley. It's the same sort of pace these two cars are running. Yes, they are identical cars, both Cupra Layout Competition cars, the latest specification. But I'm intrigued that Dan Kirby, he's not holding up Jensen Brickley, but the pace he's showing is relatively equal to that of Jensen. Jensen's not really catching him at this point.
And I got to say, no, I mean, I put myself in Dan Kirby's thing. He's going to be frustrated. Good, well done, Dan Kirby. I was about to say, he was doing so well. He was in that battle pack for 3rd position. Then he got nerfed out of the way. He's lost a lap. As a driver, the red mist has come down. You know, he knows, oh dear. And that is Darrell Wilson and Mr. Townsend having words.
Yeah, I think we should probably pull the cameras away from that because before it got a little too heated and something that we can't broadcast on this broadcast. So, but yeah, it looks like Darrell Wilson and Gary Townsend, difference of opinion, shall we say, when it comes to maybe what happened between them. So we'll leave it at that and continue with our racing out in front. Jensen Brickley, though, what a story it would be if he can hold on to this for the next 8.5 minutes. To rise from mini stocks becoming a champion there to Fiesta Juniors to Fiesta Seniors, and then in the space of 3 or 4 years to go from mini stocks to Fiesta Juniors to Fiesta Seniors in the ST240s and into TCRs into a potential race winning position in what, 3 or 4 years? That's quite a meteoric rise, isn't it?
And incredible. I know it's a reverse grid race, but Jensen Brickley's got the fastest lap in the race, 1 minute 23.165. Yes, he's up at the front because of the reverse grid, but he is earning his place at the front. And if you're not fast enough, you won't win a race, full stop, no matter how many places they reverse the grid. He is proving he's got the talent, he's got the speed. You said about he's coming out of cars, Scott, that are very similar in characteristics. That proves the old adage true. If you've got talent, you can win in whatever you sit in. There is a driver that's got winning on his mind. Carl Boardley up into P5, and he's closing in on the championship leader.
The championship leader was sideways there going through Hawthorne, but he managed to gather it up again. Jensen Brickley continues to try and extend the advantage, nearly 2 seconds out in front now. And I suspect also Joe Marsh in 3rd place is trying to line up Adam Shepherd for a potential run here. Bradley Kent into the pit lane after his collision earlier on, so it looks like he's still getting troubles. That's unfortunate for him, I'm afraid. And again, what was such a promising start with 3rd on the grid and then 3rd in the race in race 1, his luck just taken a massive nosedive. And it was one of the unfortunate stories of the season when he was having so much bad luck in that sense. But we'll come back to that in a second. That's Jack Constable, meanwhile, who's getting back past Callum Newsham to get back into 6th position. So up to P6 for the race 1 winner, past Callum. And Callum at least will be happy to take some points away, in fact, because he had some really awful reliability at Snetterton. And he's able to get that car not just working, but also working relatively competitively as well. So he's looking pretty strong in that sense. But they're pairing off a little bit here, because you're seeing little one-on-one duels wherever you look. You've got the battle of third going on between Joe Marshall and Bruce Winfield. This battle of fifth going on between Joe Marshall, Adam Shepherd and Joe Marshall for third. It's Bruce Winfield and Carl Baldley for fourth position. Ignore Dan Kirby, because yes, he's quick, but he's a lap down after he went off into the tyres at the complex. Then you got behind the scrap going on for sixth between Jack Constable and Callum Newsham, and then just behind them, closing on them, is another duo, which is Chris Smiley versus Brad Hutchinson. So it's almost like pairing off in like a bracket, so to speak.
It's like a high-speed Noah's Ark, Scott,
yes,
is what it is.
Two by two hurrah, they call it.
What I'm worried about is what's happened to Chris Smiley's pace. Electric at the start. Since that sort of like the mid-race pause, he hasn't gained ground. And in fact, you see, he's now battling with Brad Hutchinson. He's dropped back off the Jack Constable Callum Newsham battle in P8. At this point, though, I think that Smiley's probably thinking, I just need to see a checkered flag, get to the finish, keep doing the R&D work in that car.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong on that one. It's certainly a case of Chris Smiley damage control, hopefully almost quite literally, maybe not quite literally this time, I think. As they come into the complex now for the 13th time, you see that Carl Baldley just arriving onto the rear wing of Bruce Winfield as they turn their way through. And now as they run towards the complex now for the 14th time. We've got to pick a driver of the day for this weekend as well. There's so many performances that have been great all over the weekend. It's going to be almost impossible to choose. We're going to have to do it in the next few minutes, because potentially you look at the top two drivers are looking in good form as well. Joe Marshall's looking good for third. I mean, at the moment, for me, it's between Jensen and Adam, particularly in the circumstances they've had and where they've come from, I think. But it's going to be pretty tricky to try and pick one, because stuff could still happen in the next 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's going to be one of those decisions that we make right at the very end, because we don't know what's happening. Obviously, Brickley, a race win. Adam Shepherd, as a driver, you're not racing on Friday morning. You turn up the circuit. It's not until Friday evening that you're actually racing. So you've got no time to get into the zone, get into that race zone. And Shepherd, again, so you know that he's struggling for budget because he almost didn't hear. So he can't afford to crash. He can't afford damage, things like that. So to race at almost podium level speed, almost a race winning speed. I mean, he's only 2.4 seconds behind Jensen Brickley. With the back of your mind, okay, if I ding this, if I damage the car, that's it, game over. Because I haven't got enough money to race as it is. So any damage could be the end of my season, let alone my championship thoughts, to then come at some of these fearsome corners. I mean, look at that. The Jim Clark S is one of the most fearsome complex in British motorsport. To come out to do that, knowing that, it could be game over if I ding this, I think that is possibly worthy. We'll have to see, though. It's going to come down to the last 4 minutes. Brickley by 2.4 seconds. Can Carl Baldley get past that championship leader? Because this is, I think, 1-2 in the championship now, Scott.
Yeah, you're not wrong, effectively. This is now Bruce Winfield versus Carl Baldley. The championship position there possible would have changed, of course. He was leading coming into the weekend. Of course, Bruce was a bit further back in that first race. He finished back in 7th place. Of course, now he's duelling over 4th at the moment in this reverse grid race with Carl Baldley, who was 2nd. And then he's now looking to try and pick up 4th place if he can down towards the pit strip. They're going to be levelled now side by side towards Clairvaux. Closing in there, you can see Dan Kirby watching on with interest. They're almost touching. Very close under braking, but Winfield will have the track position. Now, can Baldley possibly get the undercut here towards Hawthorns? He thought about it, but we have to sit back and try and look for another opportunity. He may well get it here, because Hawthorns is quite a key corner here. If he could swing out wide, get a nice straight fast run all the way through the S's, and now down the back straight towards Tower Bend, it might well happen. And so I can see that Winfield's, he's not totally comfortable, but he's happy to at least try and put the car back on the racing line, which is going to be intriguing. With now 3 minutes to go now, so we're going to have roughly, maybe another 2 or 3 laps potentially until we see the checkered flag. Damage on Dan Kirby's car, but incredibly, they build them sturdy over in Spain to these Cupras, and certainly working well at this point in time. And if anything, looks like Bruce Winfield on this lap is pulling away slightly from Baldley.
Oh, there's Bradley Kent, a disappointment. Motorsport giveth, and motorsport taketh away the agony and ecstasy of racing. I'm going to say, Scott, you've got 2.5 minutes to convince me why Adam Shepherd shouldn't get driver of the day. I just think that for the situation he's in, to come here and do what he's done, he would be my nomination.
I don't think I can convince you otherwise, because I think I have to agree. I think he can, from not racing on the Friday evening to then qualify well, get P6 in race 1 and potentially be looking at 2nd place in this race, from not even being on the entry list properly on Friday afternoon. This is certainly one of the drives of the weekend so far to make it happen in particular. And they're not even using, on some cases, newer tyres. I think in testing, I was talking to Martin Pickler, one of his team drivers. He said in the wet he was one of the quickest drivers out there, and in the dry on older tyres he was only 4/10 off the fastest guys out there. So this is pretty incredible stuff from Adam Shepherd. Again, to not even be originally racing here earlier in the week. It's even the news story that came out saying he wasn't able to race due to budget. It's turned it around. He's picked up a top 6 in race 1, almost a podium in race 2 if he gets the flag in that same position. I think, genuinely, I can't argue against giving him driver of the day, in our opinion.
Now all we've got to do is hope we haven't put the curse of the commentator on.
Let's hope not. Fingers crossed.
Oh, now Bordley getting it all over the curves there. Look at Carl Bordley attacking into Tower Bend there, up on the inside curve, challenging Bruce Winfield. This could be a significant battle, not just in the race, Scott, but in the race for the title at the end of the year. Behind them, it is still Constable, Newsham and Smiley, but this is the battle.
Really is. Look at Carl Bordley just arriving on the rear wing of Bruce Winfield as they come through in towards Sunny. And in fact, he was nudging him, saying, come on, get on with it. Either you're going to either have to find a way through, or you're just going to let me past. Either way, I want to get through. I want that 4th place. You're going to give it to me, or I'm going to have to try and take it the long way round. Up through the complex they go. And there goes the battle of goals behind also that's going on for 6th and 7th place between Jack Constable and Callum Newsham. The brakes again for the hairpins. We head on to the last lap of the race, and Winfield now knows he has to keep on defending like crazy to try and hold on to the points that he's got. Onto the pit strip they go for the final time now. But as they see now, this battle continues on. But I'm sure we'll look at our race leader in a second, and what a story it's going to be for him if we can hold on for that. This is the main battle, though, for 4th place, and it may be off the podium, but it's no less substantial or any less frantic as they come up through Hawthorne, and Baldley's pushing as hard as he dares. But if he's going to get any more chances, he'll have to try and take it now on this last lap. Practically now, it's now or never for Carl.
Yeah, it is out of the chicane. He's gone through Hawthorne, he's gone through the chicane. He's now coming through that left-hand kick halfway down the back straight towards Tower Bend. This is where he made the move last time. Can he get to the inside? No, there's debris there. So he sits about it, he thinks about it. He's going to now sort of like gird his loins for one final challenge. The clock strikes 0. Next time round, Scott, it's going to be the checkered flag. This has been touring car racing at its finest.
Can't disagree with that. It's been a magnificent second race here at Croft, a great second weekend for TCR UK in 2023, and it really sets everything out, of course, for the second of the season. We're looking at essentially 4 different race winners from the first 4 races, because that's how competitive it really is out there. Forget reverse grids and anything else. 4 different race winners just shows just how competitive it is already in this championship. That battle for 4th will go all the way to the flag as it will for 6th, but coming out the last few corners, it will be this man. He's been a National Mini Stock Champion, Fiesta Junior Champion, STT40 Fiesta Champion, and now in 2023 in round 4 of TCR UK at Croft, he is a race winner. Jensen Brickley wins round 4 of 2023 TCR UK. A brilliant drive for the independent, fantastic stuff. I think our driver of the day is in 2nd place. It has to be Adam Shepherd. Wasn't even racing on Friday afternoon, gets a 2nd place to round off the weekend. What a fantastic effort that was. And Joe Marshall, that makes up somewhat for Snetterton, a 3rd place, his first TCR UK podium. Carl Baldley doesn't quite get past Bruce Winfield in the end. Bruce gets 4th, it's Carl Baldley 5th. Jack Constable, who won race 1, is in 6th. And it's Callum Newsham, Brad Hutchison, Chris Smiley, and Oliver Cotton gets the top 10 as well. 11th for Andy Wilmot on his one-off appearance. It seems Scott Sumpton from the back of the grid to get 12th. Matthew Wilson 13th. Darren Lewis is 14th after he ended race 1 in the pit lane. And Steve Gales gets 15th place with Dan Kirby, the final finisher. But even though we give driver of the day to Adam Shepherd, hats off. What a drive from Jensen Brickley, and that is absolutely thoroughly deserved. Like, even see in the cockpit, he is over the moon with that, and rightly so. What a rise it's been. And what I like about his car as well, his car, the top roof of his car is gold because it's a nod to his national mini stock stage when he was champion. He's just proven exactly how much of a talent he is, and that's a great advert for him as an independent, for TCR UK. It's a great advert for the Fiesta Juniors in terms of a feeder series as well. It's a great advert for the whole championship. 4 different race winners in 4 races. What a start to the season it's been for TCR UK all round.
Do you know what, Scott? Next round at Alton Park, the usual crew, Andy McEwen, Andy Jordan and Paul O'Neill will be back. It's been such a privilege to be here because I think I can safely say, we have witnessed a new star of the future in the world of tin top touring car racing, born today, Jensen Brickley. That is fantastic. He's got his uncle Jason here working, he's got his dad on the spanners, his dad does the cooking, whole family team here, and just go to show, yes, you have got absolutely superstar drivers here, but the privateers have still got a chance in TCR.
And the most magnificent of which, of course, is Jensen Brickley, race winner for round 4 of TCR UK 2023, and a brilliant performance for the youngster. 2nd place for Adam Shepherd, who we could name as our driver of the weekend after an amazing effort from not even racing on Friday to podium in 2nd place in race number 2. And Joe Marshall, he couldn't make it happen in race 2 at Snetterton, but he does here at Croft, gets a 3rd place and a fine drive in that Audi. 4th place for Bruce Winfield, just holding on from Carl Baldley in P5, and Jack Constable 6th. Callum Newsham 7th. Brad Hutchison, who had all sorts of dramas from pole at one point from off the road, and then contact and everything else in between. Ends up 8th. He'll be disappointed with that on his home race. And Chris Smiley 9th, also from the back of the grid. It's a good effort, but not the pace he wanted from the FL5 Honda. And then Oliver Cotton rounds out the top 10. It's Andy Wilmot in 11th, who's got something in 12th from the back of the grid. Then Matthew Wilson and Darren Lewis in 13th and 14th place. And as you go further down, it's 15th place for Steve Gales and 16th for Dan Kirby. And we lost to that race in that sense from 17th downwards. We also didn't manage to get, we lost to Bradley Kent retire after he had that contact between himself, Alex Lee, who also retired, and Jack Constable. And then it was Gary Townsend also out of the race, as was Darrell Wilson, and of course Alex Lee too. Well, that has been a breathless day of TCR UK racing, and I have to say, just on behalf of myself and also from Henry Baudet and also as well from Alex Goldschmidt, you'll have the regular team back of Andy McEwen, Paul O'Neill and Anthony Jordan back, but at least I'll speak on behalf of them, at least for me at least. It's been a genuine privilege commentating on TCR UK this weekend. It really is great to see it back with the BRSCC, back with a bang for 2023 at its biggest and best, back as a headline act, and the racing it's put on this weekend has been fantastic. Two different race winners this weekend, 4 for the season so far, which has been amazing. And I have to say thank you so much to TCR UK, to BRSCC, to Stitch Stewart and Nicky Lyons, to Ash Gallagher, and to everyone involved in the championship for putting on such a magnificent display all the way through from start to finish. And I've certainly enjoyed commentating on this championship, and I hope it won't be the last time throughout there. Of course, Andy McEwen and co will once again resume their regular spot of the next rounds at Alton Park, and they'll have quite the story to pick up when we come through next time. One of the teams that's also, I can see, it's coming over to say congratulations, of course, is 2010 Racing, obviously, because amazingly, of course, he used to run with 2010 back in the days of his Fiesta Junior and Fiesta ST240 days. And they'll certainly be delighted for him as well, as will the entire Fiesta Junior paddock as well. A Fiesta Junior champion becoming a TCR UK touring car race winner. There's Adam Shepherd, who we've declared as our driver of the day after his amazing 48 hours. And so we can have a chat to our top 3, I'm sure. Very ecstatic Jensen Brickley for the final time today. Let's hand over to Alex Goldschmidt, who I'm sure has a very, very happy brand new race winner in TCR UK.
Absolutely, I think as a team and driver.
Right, 4th race in TCR UK. It's the 246. Jensen Brickley with a Cooper Leon Competition. 2 different manufacturers, which, folks, gives us 4 different races, 4 different winners, and the car's trying to roll back as Jensen's trying to keep a hold of the front aero dam on it, but we'll wait for him to get in.
Brilliant, Remy. Mark is a very experienced man across
So let's see if we can catch the man himself. You know what, I'm going to wait for this man to soak it all in. Let's give him a moment. Jensen Brickley, you are a TCR UK race winner in your 4th race, mate. You must be speechless.
Sounds good, don't it? Yeah, well, from free practice, we knew we had the pace, and we messed up with qualifying, then we were stuck in the middle in race 1, and a wrong tyre decision made us drop back a few places. But yeah, the reverse grid definitely helped, but I think we had the pace in that one.
I think I also noticed that when Adam Shepherd was trying to catch you, he got to within about 6/10, but then this car started singing your praises, pushing you forward, you opened up the gap, and it was a convincing victory. That's a way to end the weekend, isn't it, here at Croft?
Yeah, definitely a good way to end the weekend, and it's a great start to the TCR UK campaign, and I couldn't have done it without the sponsors and the team. So thank you to Kingsway Insurance, JBS Commercials, and the team, JBR, because we couldn't have done it without them.
Brilliant. Jensen, well done, buddy. Soak it all in, soak it all in. And this man here, the 117, that lastminute.com, 7 p.m. Friday night, you get the all clear, and you know what, you round it out with a podium, fellow.
Yes,
mate,
yeah.
That's mental.
No, it was good. It's stressful. We kind of didn't have no budget, weren't racing, and then last minute, 7 p.m. as you say on Friday, we found out we was. We struggled with the car balance all weekend, and then we've been changing the car. A huge thanks to all the team, because there's not a single thing on that car that's not been changed, and yeah, it came better at the end.
Right, also, I want to know how many people have helped you out. You were phoning round the houses on Friday.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
You just name a few names, or name everybody. You deserve it, mate.
Yeah, huge thanks. So my sponsors, PBS, huge thanks. The brakes are unreal, and they helped us out. We wouldn't be on the grid today if it wasn't for them. AMR Motorsport, Shipping Motors, there's a good few. So.
Right. I've got some other news.
Okay.
You have been nominated and you have won Driver of the Day, buddy. Last minute entry. There we go. We're going to give you one of these. So Adam Shepherd, mate, top job, well done.
Yes, thanks very much. It's now work hard to try and make Alton. We're starting from scratch with £0 in the bank. So yeah, huge thanks to my dad, my cousin, and everyone else because they work hard.
Brilliant, well done. Enjoy that champagne a little bit later on. Now we've got to speak to another of the Rob Boston racing family. Jack Constable won race 1, and his teammate, number 99, Joe Marshall. 3rd place, mate.
I'm out of breath.
You're speechless, mate.
Where did I start? 6th? Oh, it's amazing, you know. First year in front wheel drive cars, and Podium is more than what we could have asked for this weekend, so I'm really, really happy.
Yeah, you are out of breath. That was a tough race out there, wasn't it?
They're so hot in those cars, so hot. And you lose track where you are, because obviously there's a back markers and stuff, but then I saw the pit board and they were counting down the laps by laps, so I was like, come on. Then someone got confused with the safety car, I don't know what happened then, and I'm just glad it's over now.
Now we go to Alton Park Island, 10th of June. It's going to be about maximising everything you've learnt from this weekend about the car, the Gen 2 Audi. Yeah. It's been great for, you know, a race win for the team and a 3rd in the 2nd race. I mean, Jack did have a little bit of troubles. He dropped outside of the top 10, but it's a great bolster for the team to move forward into the 3rd race weekend of the season, isn't it?
It's great to have Jack on board with us because he's got experience in TCR cars, so having him as a teammate is great. We look at each other's data, and I'm learning every day in this car. Every time I get in it, I'm learning all the time. And Rob and the boys set up the car perfect then, so yeah, really, really happy.
Well done. Enjoy that podium a little bit later on. We've got another person to speak to. It is Mr. Henry Bodette. Now,
what a race! What a race!
I know. I think, you know what? I know Andy McEwen, Paul O'Neill and Anthony Jordan, who will be back in action, folks.
Don't panic, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get triggered online and stuff.
Yes.
You're not going to put up with this anymore.
No. But we've got to speak to a man that has really put out one of the stellar performances of the weekend. It's Ipswich's very own Carl Bordley, who has again won another pot. So that's 4 in total for Carl. So we'll just wait for him to have a chat with the guys at Heart GT. But you know what? That was a cracking... But we did have a little bit of drama with some of the contenders. I mean, we had Gary Townsend having the left front, Dan Kirby in, Brad Kent with the right rear puncture. Yeah, it was all kicking off, wasn't it?
That was a proper touring car race. There was superb racing, inches apart, close quarters action. Occasionally got a little bit too close, you know, 1 or 2 little bits of bumpers were shredded, but again, at the end of it all, you've got fantastic winners. You know something, this championship, Alex, you know, it's taken a few years to get itself going, to get off the ground, but if you didn't know about TCR Racing, this season, they are putting their stamp on the world of motorsport. Yeah, we've had 2 fantastic weekends of racing. Today, that was a proper touring car race, that was. You could see why this championship is gaining so many more professional teams, professional drivers, but significantly, this shows that for all the big trucks, for all the teams coming from other championships, other touring car series into this, there's still room for a family-run, privateer outfit with a young, talented, hungry driver on a small budget to win and win big at a national level. And that is a fact, which means that TCR is here to stay, and it's only going to grow from here.
We're going to have a bumper grid at Alton Park Island, June 10th. Yep. 24 cars at Snetterton night. We had 20 here at Alton, here at Croft, which filled the garages. But you know what? Just a few weeks' time, it's going to be mega. TCR UK on the rise. We've got more to come, more Elantras to join the grid. The Hyundai's out in force, and the FL5 is only going to get sweeter in the hands of Chris Smiley because he did a belter today in race 4 of the season.
So, Mr. McEwen, Mr. Jordan, Mr. O'Neill, on behalf of myself, Henry Bodette, Alex Goldschmidt, and Scott Woodworth, it's back over to you at Alton Park.
What a classy move. That was a classy move.
championship leader is in the gravel trap.
Neil sends him off and it's a kick of dirt on the out.